Okay, ladies and gents. So, this is a best of 3 between Barles and Villese. This is Group B. T90 Titans League going to play all 3. This is game 1, and since it's live, we are catching up. So this is my opportunity to do a fast cast. And what I would normally talk about is the civilizations, blah, 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 blah. So basically what I'll say is that I made the claim earlier today that I would pick Gurjaras over Chinese, which is crazy because Chinese are seen as one of the best land maps in the land civs in the game. We have Gurjaras for Barles, and then we have Chinese for Villese. I really think Gurjaras need a bit of a nerf, but we'll see. We're going to have a stable opening for Barles. He's going to be going scouts. On this side, we're going to have an archer opening for Villese. Barles is known for his eco, scout plays, likes a lot of walling. Again, fast casting. I'm not going to go normal speed until we're caught up to live time. So far, so good. We have skirmishers and scouts now. The skirms are out and able to counter all the spearmen and the archers. And so far, again, no villagers lost. But look at the resources for Barles, man. I guess the concern for him would be, though, that Villese did add some scouts here. And Villese is able to trade against the skirms. Barles definitely wants to click up to Castle Age. And he will click up to Castle Age 20 minutes after making scouts and skirms. We'll see if what he wants to go for. But as the skirms here, trying to trade against the archers from Villese. Trades against some of them, not all of them. Villese now makes it to Castle Age. We have a Shamalama Lama Ramsha rider here, and that kills the archers, no problem. But we're going to have camels, and we're going to have crossbows here from Villese. And what a game. Siege Workshop defense for Barles. Double house walls over here. TC on the gold, TC on the stone. Even economies right now. 3 TCs for both. Crossbow, camel. Feels like these hills in the middle are very important. Very, very important. In fact, because that's where a lot of the castles might go, and I think Barles might be building one soon. The Gurjara camels also do additional bonus damage. And camels do bonus damage against other camels, so... The thing is, Gurjaras kind of counter everything, and even though Chinese have all these options. And, oh, the Shravamsha riders get in. First villager kills of the game over there. 5 villagers go down, and then we have a fight in the middle. And it's a great fight for Barles. And Barles will get to the hill. Barles will get to the hill. He will place the castle. He'll be an imp faster. Also has 1 relic, and now he's starting to make some chakram throwers. Guys, Chinese are seen as like one of, if not the best Arabia civilizations in the game. Gurjaras are new, and they are just dominating here. They've got full control over the game. Let's see if Barles can show us their post-imp power, because they're not even finished yet. The unique tech that was just completed makes all their units cheaper. We have Elite Chakram Thrower as the choice of unit for Barles, who has this hill right now and has a Treb now against Villese. Villese with a castle over here. And let's see how the Chakrams perform. Right now, Barles is prioritizing the Chakram production instead of the Treb production. He needs to go in here and keep this hill. Meanwhile, a little counter attack with camels for Villese, and we are live. We are live time. 170 pop versus 190 pop. At the moment, the army count is so much higher for Villese. But the Chakram throwers... The Chakram throwers are so broken, man! I mean, he even spread out the Arbalest. This unit does pass-through damage like a scorpion. And I would love to see Barles patrol back into this fight. He also has Onager. So over here, we've got some action. Just not anything to pay attention to right now. 2-2 with the relics. And let's see if the camels and the Lycav can go in to take out any Trebs here. They go in for the Mangonel. They go in for the Trebs. They're not going to kill many Trebuchets. They might get 1. They get 1. 170 pop versus 170 pop. Will we see another Treb from Villese on this side? No. Still focused here, guys. I think at this point, you just need Shravamshas if you're Barles, right? If he can queue up Shravamsha riders, I feel like he'll have an answer. Then again, Chakra Monitor seems pretty strong. We do have a Lycav killing villagers here. We do have a camel here. There's things that Barles has to deal with. But he's super focused on this hill because he feels like he can win the game if he can control the hill. And Villese is trying to use Arbs against Onagers over here. And Lycav to take the Onagers too. None of it's really working well. Barles, is the castle still standing? Man, having the hill is so important here. He somehow hasn't lost it yet. This is a ridiculous game. He's still holding. Arbalester dying. He's not going to run out of stone. He just needs to take out the trebs. 40 on gold for Villese, by the way. He loses one of his trebs. He might be losing hope now. And the light cap will be dealt with by this camel. It's kind of funny, but Barles didn't even have masonry this entire time. And it's looking worse for Villese now because soon Barles might be able to push against this castle. If he does that, you know, then things will be... I mean, that could be the game, right? Because of all the eco being directly behind this. Again, I feel like Travamsha's would be the play in this position. He's opting for light cav instead. Might be hoping to use the gold for the chakram throwers. But I like the choice of bomber cannon as well. And we do have an outpost over here for Barles, so we might see a unit hit that gold for Villese. Guys, one of the changes we made for this Arabia was we brought the hills back. No massive hills directly in front of the player bases, but in between player bases and on the sides. And I love this. I feel like this was always a big part of the game in the past. And the chakrams are just showing how strong they are. But yeah, you know, I really like what we're seeing at the moment. I also love how Villese is starting to raid. It takes some real skill to be able... There's only 7 chakrams, actually. It takes some real skill to be able to raid while also having to defend yourself. And it takes a lot of stone to be able to repair this castle for this long. Now we're seeing siege elephants for Barles. I'm a little worried that Barles is starting to lose control over this. Right? I thought that maybe he could have pushed this back. But his chakram number is really low. In fact, he doesn't have any anymore. He's kind of freezing up in general right now. He's making more chakrams. But if you would have paid attention to the queue, Villese has always had light cap, always had Arbalest queuing. I do believe in the Gurjara units. I think the Gurjara units are strong, but obviously you need to have them. And Villese will take the trebs, which means he might finally be able to take the castle, because Barles at this point doesn't have the stone. I think Villese is going to take this game, guys. Oh my god, he's also got the trebs on the other side. Wow, man. It was just the lack of production for Barles. And maybe he tried to do too much. He had to make camels to deal with the raids, which I think is also half of it. I think those raids took the attention away from production. But we didn't see any more Shravamshas. We didn't see many chakrams after that initial group. We saw 2 onagers. We didn't see much more. Obviously, it's all been very fast. But Villese is like, it's my time. I've been saving the stone. This is my hill now. The bombard cannons are also in here. So once the siege workshop goes down, 2 bombard cannons are going to be lost. The villagers here are going to get raided. What a sick hold from Villese. I really thought Barles had the game. When we were going fast speed, I thought Barles had the game. Looks like he's going to try and make Hussar now. But it is 2-2 with the relics. It's not like Barles is really holding on to any, like 4 or 5 relics, right? It's not like he's going to have the longer gold income. Plus, Villese has access to this and this now. Dang, man. Beautiful from Villese. And must be gut-wrenching for Barles. Because, again, I do think the chakrams are really strong. I've made hand cannons and arbs against these chakram throwers. And I think if you combine them with hussars or Shravamshas, like I was saying, I think it's almost impossible to stop. I actually do not know what Chinese would have made in that instance against it. Especially because of how cheap they are. But now, I mean, this castle, how do you push this back? You've got a castle at home, I guess you need to use for chakrams. It's just so easy for Villese to raid from the sides now. He'll raid from this side. I think we'll see units come over to the left side in a second. Villese now grabs the relic. Sick game. Villese now expands his farming eco. The guy was almost out of wood as well on the front, by the way. If he would have been pushed back here, I really think he would have been in trouble there. Just more and more light cav. Okay, Hussar kills the monk. That's not bad. Yeah, I think the way you win this game if you're Villese is you just hold the middle position and then you raid the sides. Barles will have to react to the sides constantly. And then every time he reacts, you just push the middle. So you just kind of swing him back and forth as much as humanly possible here. What is interesting, though, is that the Hussars for Gurjaras, due to the unique tech, are, I think, 60 food. And Barles has 78 farmers. So there is a world where enough Hussar could maybe take all of this. It's not like there's a big ball of Arbalest at this point. Villese, noticing that this is an issue, though, is going to go for barracks now and switch. So I think it's kind of now or never for the Polish player, Barles. But, I mean, you know, as much as I say, you know, as much as I use the word should for Barles, heck of a game, man. It was an incredible game. I mean, we're talking about the top players. It's understandable that you might miss out in production for a second and lose it all. And the impressive thing for me from Villese is that as he was still defending or trying to push, he was raiding at the same time. And I think maybe that's something that Barles could have done as well in theory. But again, it just takes a lot more APM, a lot more skill, a lot more focus. I've not seen the population for Barles really rise here. It's at 140 pop. Barles will likely get this relic now, and now we have Halb. And so if it's just Hussar, the Halbs will likely not contribute much. And Barles is going to try and snipe the Trebs, but he realizes he's lost this game. Dang, man. Well, bit of a shame we couldn't cast that one from the very beginning at normal speed, because it was a really good back and forth game. But I would like to spend a little bit more time with this and just look at this for a second. Imp time. I mean, everything here was favoring Barles at this point, right? I think for Barles, this is the problem. Gurjaras have too much. He's got camels out. He's got chakrams. He's got monks. He's got spear. He's got all this stuff. You've got to commit to one thing here. And he commits to chakrams, which, honestly, maybe it was a poor move. Maybe it was a poor move. Maybe he should have opened with Shrivamsha. Because the castles were also in need of repair. So he was, like, fully committing towards a unit he would need to repair for a long time. Or, you know, a unit that he would need a building for that he was repairing. Also, I think Shrivamshas can actually be effective with raids. And his opponent is prioritizing Arbalest, at least at the start. I don't think you need the chakrams at all, honestly. I think you go Frontier Guards, which is cheaper than the unique, than the elite upgrade for chakram throwers. I think you go heavy camel, and then you just go Shrivamshas. And I think you can do that with Trebs, and you win this game super easily. Honestly, I think that's a bit of a throw from Barles, based on what I know about the Gurjaras. Their camels doing more bonus damage means they beat the enemy camels no problem. The Shrivamshas would be able to raid easily, because it's the fastest unit in the game. And then I think they'd also would take care of the ARPs. Yeah, I think chakrams was kind of a throw, which is ironic, because it's the elite chakram thrower. Get it? Because he threw? Maybe. Maybe he threw. I don't want to take much away from Villese there. That was still an incredible game. We look at the resources collected. The Barles had 34,000 food collected. It was still a very close game. 76,000 versus 77,000 resources brought in. And Villese starts off the series with a bang. And this is it. Game number 2. We'll actually be casting this in normal speed. So get to relax a little bit more. But we have Barles playing as the Byzantines on Jungle Swamp, which should be his home map. Interesting that he would pick the Byzantines. And then we've got Villese playing as the Hindustanis. Now, I like the Hindustanis a lot more on a map like this. This is a map that we saw to be scout dominant earlier. But maybe Barles wants to make a lot of spearmen with Byzantines and change the approach. I don't know. Now, I didn't actually get a chance to look at the Civ draft. It could be that maybe one of the Civs he wanted to pick, like probably Mongols was globally banned. And I'm not sure what the other map is, too. It's very possible that maybe something like Magyars or Huns or Khmer. Any Civ you might think would be strong on this is actually going to be used in another map, which is close like this. But, yeah, there's deer everywhere. So you'll see a lot of that. You do have the pond in the middle, though it's not something you have to focus on fully. We had a really fun game between Dragonstar and Hera earlier, and era was able to get the win, but we saw lots of scouts. First time catching stream for me. Been on YouTube for years, though, lol. What's up, Brandon? Welcome. Glad you could make it. All this stuff will hit YouTube, obviously. You know, it's good to have you guys live here. If you are brand new and you're looking to support, I know some people are always asking, like, Patreon. Should I go to your OnlyFans and subscribe to see feet pics? What should I do, T90? If you hit the overview tab here, there's a subscribe or support option, and 100% of that actually comes to me. None of it goes towards the platform. So, you know, if you want to avoid going to OnlyFans, you could always do that. Because I don't actually have an OnlyFans. Yeah, that gold position for Barles is tasty. But you're going to chop through the wood lines pretty fast. I don't really know if you're going to base any strategies around that gold. T90, do you do referral codes or anything for AoE 2? Thanks for asking. I do actually have a Humble Bundle link. I'm sure if you Google T90 official Humble Bundle, you can find it. But I would only suggest doing that if the game's not on sale, because it will not be on sale there. And to be completely honest, I don't even know how much money I get from the referral link, so if it's too much trouble, just don't do it. I've had that up. I think I have like $170 in my whole career from referral links. Woo! 6 years, that's not a bad average. And I just never set it up to actually be able to get that. So, yeah, somebody linked it there. But again, if there's a sale, though, you don't get the sale price, so don't use my link. Don't use my link if there's a sale price. But yeah, you can use that, and then you can buy a key, and then you just input it into Steam, and then you have the game. Easy. So we have a dock approach here from Villese. And I think as the weeks progress, we're going to see more and more people decide to do this or not do this, but I'm surprised to see Villese do this, personally. He's prioritizing the dock. Plenty of food elsewhere, of course. Barles sees that, which I think is important. And Barles did not decide to go for a dock, but did also open 4 on wood, which tells me this might be man-at-arms. He's opening 4 on wood. Yeah, again, I just didn't do anything to be able to get the reward, but it is really nice gesture, so thank you guys for asking. Because I feel like if I had $1 for every person that bought the game because of watching a video or a stream, I'd probably have more than $170. Maybe a little bit more than $170 or whatever that will total out to. So it is nice when people ask that, but obviously, you know, it does require a little bit of knowledge and workaround on your part. So, okay, so Fuel H coming in now for Barles. This is fast. Fast enough where I don't actually think we're going to see the man-at-arms I mentioned. Oh, there's a big sale on it right now? Yeah, just do the sale then if that's the case. I don't want you guys paying more so I can get like 10% or whatever. He is making militia, but he didn't go to gold. Barles, you're killing me, bro. What's the deal here? Is he just making 1 militia to work with his scout to kill the fish? Is that the strat? That's interesting, actually. And look at Villese. He's scouting with his fishing ship to see if Barles is here. And I think this might mind game Villese a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's only awkward for the fishing ships when they have to come drop off the food. Because you can always hide in the little circle in the middle. It is a fast uptime, though, for Barles. But yeah, for now, the fish can sit there. And what we'll probably see Villese do is press stop on them. And they'll just freeze. Yeah, let's see if we'll go back. Okay, there it goes back. Okay, well, they're surviving this run. We'll see if Villese benefits from this long-term act, obviously. Barles is going to hit the next stage. Immediately queues up a spearman. Okay, so archer range for him. Yeah, full trash. So lots of spearmen, lots of skirmishers is the plan. And I assume we're going to see scouts for Villese. So far, I like the approach more for Villese. I'm not sure how I feel about the whole trash rush thing if the map is this open. If you go forward, if you build the buildings on his face, I kind of like that because it can smother them. Oh! Barles with the little doink. There was a weak villager from a boar earlier. Barles snipes the Vill. Not bad. It still hasn't killed a single fishing ship. But, I mean, Barles does also have one job. For Villese, I think it's harder to play this way because you have the fish to worry about and everything else. Yeah, I think has he stopped them? No, he hasn't. He's just kind of letting them work. Scout for Barles running over towards his spearman now. So the weakness of the trash rush here as fishing ship gets picked off. Nice job, Barles. Another fishing ship should get picked off. Wow. No attempt from Villese to keep them alive at all. He maybe brought in a couple hundred food, but keep in mind he didn't even take his berries that whole time. So the idea of the trash rush is to just kind of cover your bases. Like, if they're making archers, you're going to have skirms. If they're making scouts, you're going to have spearmen. But you never move... You never move out without your spears, Barles. Oh, boy, that's a painful one. Painful one. Painful one. This is like Byzantine 101. Combine it all. I think we all learned this against the AI growing up. Suddenly, this is a little less effective. But Villese does still have some pressure to deal with, potentially. It's going to be frustrating for Barles, but he's taking a very different approach than what we saw from Dragonstar and Hera. He's just going to wall up. Kind of playing this like he would play Arabia, possibly. Still have 2 spearmen in here, and Villese chooses to engage, so Villese loses a scout. And Villese has lost 4 eco, actually. He lost the 3 fishing ships. And then he also lost that 1 villager. And this is another reason to advocate for the trash rush. Maybe you can take out their deer. But Villese, I was surprised he pulled back. I thought that Villese would realize he'd need to counterattack. Barles expecting this, adding more spearmen at home. But yeah, look how safe he's playing. Definitely wants to take this towards Castle Age from what I'm seeing here. I don't know. You know what's so funny is I only saw 1 game on this previously, and it was the previous series. And so I look at some of the decisions here, and I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. Because it's different, right? It's different. It's a new meta, or, you know, a different approach. And I really like the approach from Hera, and I really like the approach from Dragonstar. But at the same time, I really love how safe Barles has played this. And it's much easier to play this way, too. You don't have to worry about transitioning at all. You're like, screw it. You know, kill their fish, worry about farms, and just be annoying. And taking out the hunt, it seems like a legit strat that's working so far, because Villese is going to have to go over here, and Villese is going to have to invest into farms. Interesting decision. Also, I think he's walled here. It seems like he is. Here he's also walled. These woodlines can be awkward. Anyone else a big fan of the Byzantine choice now? I know I am. Let's actually look at the food collected this game. Yeah, he's collected more food slightly. And more wood and more gold, so he's ahead. Whoa, there's a hole! Oh, there was a hole here! There was a hole here! No! Pain! Fortunately, 2 of these scouts are weak, but Barles is going to be like, you're kidding me, man. And this is back to my point, too. It's just like, it's a map that is designed to be difficult to wall. So you have to keep your eye on these things, and there's a hole in that wood line. If Villese can kill another villager here, I'm sure he's going to be feeling a little better about how things have gone so far. But he decides, well, he's debating on running away. I think he was actually checking to see if a villager had been sent to wall that. And, okay, now all the scouts are weak. He might dive for the Vill, or he might choose to leave to have scouting intel. Meanwhile, we have some skirmishers and spearmen here. Barles is going to lose a scout to it. It's not cheaper for you if you're Hindustanis, but your villagers are cheaper, so that's nice. And Barles, I think, is going to go for crossbows. Clicks up at a pretty crazy time. It was interesting how he bought food there, though, because he has wheelbarrow already. I think maybe he didn't realize wheelbarrow was where it was at. Good morning, T90. I did not learn that when I played against the AI. I just went full longbowman and tread reshades. Oh, sorry. We all had different experiences. Sorry. So, guys, what you can do with the spearmen here is you can shift queue them to different jobs, right? And you could shift queue them to go deer, 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 deer. In theory, if you have it all scouted, you could shift queue them to a million different deer there. So Villese can never go out there. And, oh, the units are through. This is full trash from Barles. Spearman and Skirmisher. What you gonna do about it, Villese? What you gonna do about it? And look at the blocking, too. Let's see if Barles could get in front with this Spearman. Ran into the TC, sadly. Well, what we're gonna see is the Scouts and Skirmishers try and break through here, but Barles is just gonna quickly drop a house. And so far, so good for Barles. He's got a lot of control with only trash units. What you would want to make against this, by the way, and this is what makes Byzantine so weird to deal with, is you'd want to make longswords. But you don't really want to make longswords if the opponent can make a unit in the cataphract that is great against infantry. The Byzantines kind of have a counter to everything. They just don't have any eco bonuses. They don't have the cheap villagers like Hindustanis. They don't have a unique tech that makes their gold mining come in faster. You know, they don't have any of that. And if they did have that, they would probably be one of the most broken civs in the game, so it's good they don't. Yeah, Barles sent enough fills to that house just to make sure it would be okay. He's taking no risks here. That said, probably a poor fight for him here as he could throw away a few units. First thing he does is he clicks Bodkin Arrow. This is, again, a waste for Barles. A little messy here. Yeah, and I guess in the end, Villese can just go Elite Skirm and feel okay here. Barles still playing very, very, very passive. Oh, and he's got a camel there. Nice. Cheap camels for Byzantines as well. Also, the militia's in here from earlier. And this camel's going to help a lot. This camel's killing enough skirmishers. TC for Barles, which he can't actually completely build, which is sad because he needs another palisade deleted, but I'm sure he's happy with this. And we'll see. He might dive a little too deep here. He's got to be careful. I don't think he's expecting this much army here for Villese. Villese can take out the spears. Villese's scouts could then take all of this out. There's a lot of weak ones in there, so Villese decides to back away. He might actually heal them up right now. How have we seen only 2 games on this map, and they've been so different, though? That's wild. These guys are playing this so safe. This might be a long game. I actually, didn't think a lot about extra stones and golds. Seems like it's spread out somewhat evenly elsewhere. Might be nice to see Villese have a demo at some point. Which civ is better in the long run here, chat, if you had to pick one? I feel like I would say Byzantines. Even though Hindustanis have so many strong options. There's the camel gets deleted by Barles. The thing is, I still like Hindustanis more in this type of position because their villagers are cheaper. And you're on 3 town centers, and that feels good to me, but I mean, if you go Ghulam or Champion, any form of infantry that could counter the trash, Byzantines do eventually have cataphracts. I don't know. It's tricky. A little all over the place here for Barles, though. It's funny how he got Bodkin Arrow, but he doesn't actually have Elite Skirm. Now he's getting Pikemen, but he only has 4 spears, so I think he's just waiting for Elite Skirm. There it is. He will continue to produce here. And it seems like an intentional 2TC play. This area of his eco is a shocker, though. This needs to be addressed. Either a lumber camp. Yeah, there you go. There is a demo inside of that dock there for Villese, so he's waiting. And it's 3 TCs. So Villese has pulled ahead, but can Villese counter this? The camels and the scouts do well against the skirms, but the pikemen do well against the camel and the scouts, but then the skirmishers do well against the pikemen, so it's like really, really awkward. Not very fun to micro, believe me. We do have Elite Skirm coming in now for Villese. I think there's one thing that he's missing, and that's a siege workshop. Just lost a monk there. I think siege Here, yep. Boom, called it. I think Siege Workshop would be amazing because just mixing in a few Scorpions even would be very strong here. Right now, you're taking fights that are needlessly awkward, I would say. Oh, man. Yeah, needlessly awkward indeed. This is scary, man. This is scary. We've got double range pike production. Double, or double barrack pike production, I guess. Sorry, not range. You know what I meant. Just a lot of units coming forward. And I think the long-term plan for Barles is to go for a castle drop because he is on stone at home. There, he almost kills a monk. He continues to flood this army, but he also continues to fall slightly behind in villagers. This skirmisher also getting attacked by Jaguar. Looking around the map, Villese 2 relics, by the way. That's good. Look at this from Barles. So he's got one unit patrolling here. He's got another unit patrolling here. He's trying to stop Villese from expanding. But I don't think he's thought about the siege yet. Oh boy, what am I looking at right now? Oh, that's Gaia's point of view. And oof. Siege actually, I think, hit some of Villese's camels there. And now Barles is probably like, oh yeah, I forgot that's a thing. That whole siege workshop. It's very weird with these wood lines. I don't know where you're going to build a castle either if you go castle drop. Yeah, he's got to make a siege workshop all the way over here. That's definitely a bit painful. What does any save do against 9-range hand cannons? Well, Byzantines can go skirms. Right, Byzantines can go skirms. I don't think getting the ranged upgrades on hand cannons is super relevant when you're talking being up against skirms. But it'd be more relevant against, like, some other things. But like, Barles is definitely going to go imp here. That's his plan. And I think he wanted to go castle drop. Look, he's got a gather point for his TC set forward still. He probably set his gather point so he could send a villager forward for the siege workshop. But, okay, he just realized that his gather point was screwed up because he's sending the villager back now. I think Villese is a little concerned right now. I think he's like, where'd this guy go? And now he finds out. His siege is in the middle of nowhere. I would say maybe bring the siege home or make a new one. And we still could see that forward castle. This would be the time. Is it defensive castle or forward? Normally with the faster imp, you also want a forward castle. But he might want to win a fight first. Some players would prefer to clear the position, drop the castle, push with trebs. Okay, here he comes. This is where the game will be decided over the next couple moments. As Barles is now 2 minutes away from imp, but his army might not even be alive when he makes it to imp. His castle might not even go up. If the siege micro isn't there, this will be painful for Barles. Oh, God. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said anything. Again, villagers just run forward randomly for Barles, who seems to be kind of losing it. Losing his control right now. And we have a castle over here for Villese. I mean, Villese will have 4 relics. This castle doesn't really deny anything immediately from him. And I don't even know if it goes up. Like, this is really bad timing for Barles. The siege needed to happen earlier. He doesn't even have many villagers here. I mean, I think he has to sacrifice most of his army to get this up. Okay, pikemen will do a decent job. The siege is hitting the skirms for now. The camels will go down, though. All the pikemen are going down. This is a big deal. Losing all the pikemen is such a big deal. At least keep your skirms alive if you're Barles. Ouch. And okay. Could have been worse, I guess. He makes it to imp. Now he should probably go for a trebuchet. He doesn't know exactly what's back here. But exciting times because we get to see Gulam for Villese. So Gulam is great against skirms, but if Byzantines have castles, they can make cataphracts, and Gulams are very bad against cataphracts. Not only are cataphracts killer against any form of infantry, but Gulams are particularly bad against melee. Any form of melee, they just struggle. It's kind of like an Eagle Warrior. Also, the relics are here. I would maybe even consider making another monastery somewhere else right now if I'm Villese. Still making skirms, also getting chemistry. I think we could see something like skirm hand cannon be an idea for Barles as well. At the moment, Villese is struggling for vision in other areas. Barles is not. But Villese also already has relics. And is going to drop a TC on this gold, so he's fine to expand. Makes it to Imp. So he's now in the Imperial Age. 115 pop versus 117 pop. For all the struggles Barles had getting the castle up. The idea was fast pressure, and he's accomplishing that right now. And until he sees Gulam, he doesn't really have any reason to be scared. The militia's still alive? Yeah, the militia's still alive. TC will go down, and Villese needs to bail. He's starting to lose villagers to these skirmishers. Elite Gulam will complete, though. And if he has Elite Gulam, he should be able to get pretty good clear-ups. But I think at this point, Barles knows. I think he saw the castle. Yeah, he saw the castle. He saw the flag. Please tell me he's going to eject those relics. That's such a big deal. Oh, man, not quite. Disappointing for him, but Barles will fall back. Obviously, the potential's there. And I guess what's good, man, is like you don't actually need to have that many cataphracts. I think just having a couple cataphracts is enough. Let's see if these trebs go down. One of them goes down. And the second one goes down. Probably worth it for Villese. But as he runs away, obviously, we'll take big losses. Come on, Barles. Shoot the monastery, man. Shoot the monastery. Hey, take the relics. This could be huge. Look at the amount on food. 31 versus 36. 88 villagers versus 95 all of a sudden. Barles even adding a third TC behind this. Barles is a great position. And now what do you make of your Villese? God, man, I've fallen in this position so many times against Byzantines where I feel like I've done everything right, and then their flood of skirms and a couple cataphracts mixed in just makes me look like a fool. It is such a tricky civ to face up against. The militia! He survives! The militia survives! The same militia that he started the game with. And so, I guess Villese is going to go into cav archers. Which I don't mind. I think with how much gold he has over here, it's good. The problem is the lack of relics. And honestly, yeah, okay, Barles has done it. The forward monastery is a really good choice. Also, the defensive castle is a really good choice because Villese finally says, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of reacting to this guy. Let me raid him with my gulams. But there will be a castle here and some hand cannons. So Barles, realizing this is a threat, keeps himself protected. Yeah, there's still a demo ship inside the dock. I'm waiting to see if that will ever do anything here. And let's see if Barles realizes there's a hole here because that's his only gap. Yep, he realizes it. She's not important to Barles. Who cares? Quick wall, quick wall. Barles is fine. Well played, Barles. The militia's now raiding farms. This guy's really done it all. So it's tricky, right? If the hand cannons are separated from the skirms, this is fine. But if it's skirms and hand cannons, I think it gets a bit trickier. That said, there's not many hand cannons here. There's 7. And there's not many skirms here either. And the bombard cannons have to back away. This could be a big loss here for Barles. I think what Villese will do is try his best to focus down the hand cannons with the cav archers. He actually didn't do that at all. But there's also not many hand cannons. So Villese can back away. Villese can be okay. The problem is he is making a lot of gold units. But he's actually even going to run over here and take this gold. What a beast, man. He says, screw you. You take my relics, I take your gold. It's a fair trade. Do you remember the previous game where we talked about how Barles just kind of dropped off with his numbers? It's a similar thing here. I guess he had to deal with some of the raids. Maybe he's trying to make tech switches. I'm not too sure, but I mean, this is a nice little bit of damage. This is going to get snuffed out, but then Villese is back. 130 pop for Barles, 150 pop for Villese, and it's the same problem Barles had in the previous game. Trying to get his eco on course, trying to get his units out, and then he's just losing these small groups, and he can't decide on what he wants to make. Guys, he's got 18 hand cannons in queue. I see 2 ranges on the front, and he's got 2 ranges at home. He really needs some more wood, I think. I think he might even buy wood here. So hand cannon And Skirmisher's also quite slow, which Cav Archers and Ghulams are not. Cav Archers and Ghulams are able to run around the map. But Barles does see this, and Barles not happy about it. The Cav Archers will probably head over there, though. What I like about the Ghulams, too, is if there's ever situations like this, you can still fight that. Like, a couple hand cannons you can still take engagements against. And yeah, look, Villese says, okay, he's moved his units over here. I know he's on his stone, so I'll raid this. And all the while, guys, Villese has a trap. Villese just so good at getting his mass up and then controlling the game again. It was, remember the previous game, Barles could have won that game. But then he just started falling apart against Villese's raids. Wow, man, this game is flipped on its head. The hand cannons go down. The castle could go down. Villese is able to get 3 relics at least. Like, Villese is in 3 different spots. Barles can only deal with so many things, and sad times for Barles. This castle will fall. And if this castle falls, he's going to lose his final relic. He's going to lose his production. And I just don't know what he makes. As the Ghulams are even going to make it in here. Oh, man. Barles has put himself in the winning position 2 games in a row. And he just didn't know what to make, I think, in both of them. That's what's crazy. The previous one was really bad. The previous one, he just probably doesn't understand how OP Gurjaras are right now. But this one, I mean, he just fell apart, man. He just fell apart. Keys for Villese, I think, though. And I'm going to go back here. So, right about this position. Okay, so right now, he just hit the Imperial Age. He's going to lose his 4 relics, which he worked so hard for. He's going to lose access to this gold. He's going to lose his farms. He's going to lose his TC. He's going to lose a lot, right? What is he doing? He's expanding. We've got a castle in the north because he's going to need that. We have a TC in the north. Fast forward 5 minutes. His economy's expanded here. He's got farming eco here. He's replaced it all. And he's now raiding Barles. So, just amazing presence of mind from Villese to say, yes, this is a problem, but I know what I need to do over here, and I know that if I start to distract him at home, it might not be as bad for me. Because, like, technically speaking, right now, okay, hold on, let me go back a minute. Okay, right at this present time, we have 40 army versus 14, right? Now, I think in the end, what Barles needed is he needed more production buildings. I think Skirm hand cannon would have been fine. But Barles has enough stone for a castle, okay? If Barles has the army, which you could argue he does right now, and he drops a castle here and comes in with these trebs and goes for the kill, Villese could have some problems. So what Villese does is he says, oh, wow, I need to force reactions from him so he can't do this. And he'd shown up with a raid. Barles, honestly, I think he even placed the castle before the raid happened. I think this was maybe the mistake. But then, you know, you are going to have Ghulams in your base, so it's really tricky. I actually think a losing move would have been Cataphracts there. I think Cataphracts are far too expensive with the economy that Barles had, and he only had 2 castles. So I disagree with people saying he should have made Cataphracts, but he needed more archery ranges. I think Skirmishers and hand cannons could have been okay there. Another problem there is that if the Ghulam get close, they're still shredding the hand cannon, so maybe he needed something else. But his whole build was designed to go fast chemistry, fast castle pressure with trebs, and he just never followed it up. And honestly, Villese also had better economy near the end, so I just feel really bad for Barles because he could have won both of these games. But so far, Imperial Age has been the difference between the 2 players. Okay, game number 2. Let me just switch the colors, guys. And this is another play all 3. So far, so good for Villese, but I have to say, man, Barles is finding positions and just not finishing them. So good news for him would be he's close to winning these games. And then, you know, if he plays more, which he will throughout the groups, he could maybe brush up on his Imperial Age issues because I think it's just been production for him. It's been the problem 2 games here. We have Villese in the blue. Villese, $80 in the bank already. Obviously happy to be starting off strong here in the groups. And he's playing as the Japanese. And then in the red, we have Dravidians for Barles. And I have been saying for quite a while that I think Dravidians are basically the new Japanese. They're very similar. Both civilizations are fantastic when it comes to Dark Age and early feudal flexibility. Both have infantry and archer bonuses. Both tend to struggle if they're not going infantry and archer. I think I would prefer the Japanese, but I don't mind the Dravidians either here. Beneb, I had no communication from Dave knowing who was casting. I would be fine with casting, but to be honest, because I love you and I know you for a long time, it is also really annoying when I'm putting in, like, you know, my full day of casting and, like, doing all this stuff, and everyone's doing the whole, like, Dave, give me Dave. I know you're not doing that, but I hope my solo casting is suffice as I'm trying to explain the civs to you here. So I like Japanese because of the ship armor. I think the cheaper lumber camps, the cheaper mining camps, and the cheaper mills is obviously very good as well. But I think why I would prefer Japanese over Dravidians is simply due to the fact that if there's an attack, and look at Barles looking for the villager, if there's an attack, the fishing ships stay alive. Dravidians don't have any bonus like that, but what Dravidians do have... Oh, no way! Barles actually saves the... No! The walls were up! Wow, so both players sent their scout to deny the dock. Villese had a dock up already, and he walled in the Ville, and Barles just lost his villager. Ah. So sad for Barles, man. So sad for Barles. Well, what I was going to say, I guess I should finish my thought. I don't know why Barles is coming back here, by the way. I think Barles should instead just send a villager this way to dock. But as he comes back over here, Dravidians get 5 pop space when they complete a dock. And then they also receive the plus 200 wood in feudal age, which I think is really good. Now, I get it, Bennett, but like the reason I was a little uptight about it is because I spent the last 2 months prepping for this, right? And, I'm trying my best to put on a show here, right? So I understand it from your perspective. I know you weren't trying to be too harsh or anything. And I also am in agreement with some people as I feel I'm actually able to really talk about the nitty-gritty stuff, at least at this stage, where other people might not be quite as informed on like what's going on and how certain things work. So it's been good to be able to talk about those specifics with you guys here today. But yeah, just a really bad start for Barles. What some people will do is they'll actually bring their scout with their villager. Obviously, both players took the risk there to try and deny the dock. And Barles is going to be behind here. And can you guys remind me, are there any other water bonuses for the Dravidians? I know they get pop space when they complete the dock. So that's good. I know they get plus 200 wood when they arrive to each age. I know their skirms fire faster. I think their barrack technologies are 50% off. I don't think they have anything... Wait, don't their fishing ships bring in food faster? Yeah, extra carrying capacity for fishing ships. Okay. Wait, do they also garrison inside the docks as well? Or is that Bengalis? I forget. I didn't think about that. If this is the garrison fishing ship civ, that would be pretty crazy. But I don't think it is. I think that's Bengalis. So, okay, I guess the bright side for Barles is the fishing will be more efficient for him. And so while he's playing from behind right now, he still could be okay. Oh, Gurjaras can garrison in their docks? Interesting. It feels like kind of a silly thing to give Gurjaras because the Gurjaras... Wait! I played on a map with water yesterday and I didn't know that. I lost my fish, man. I lost my fishing ships with Gurjaras. You're telling me you can garrison. Oh. It was perfect, too. I mean, I won the game anyways, but, okay, anyways, I didn't know that. Thank you. This is why I ask questions. Does Barles know that, the barracks is up? He does not. And then Villese doesn't know that there's a barracks for Barles either. So Barles trying to bring in a little bit more food. Yeah, and I was aware of the Teresa Day, but I don't think the Teresa Day will be a big thing here. And no sneak villagers for Villese. Some players will try their very best to sneak a dock on the opponent's side. Villese has decided not to do that. But man, the lack of scouting is going to be so painful for Barles. He doesn't know about this, guys. Les will complete his range a little bit faster. And let's see, will Barles notice? I mean, it's Japanese men-at-arms. They also attack faster. You're down 2 games. Your scouting has suffered because you brought your scout all the way home. You have to quick wall this. Oh, no! Pain! Pain, 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 pain. I feel bad for Barles, man. He's had 2 games where he has played really well and doesn't get the victories. And now, of course, doesn't have the scouting. Oh, no. And now he's off of gold as well. Meanwhile, Villese. Oh, okay. So Villese is microing. Villese is like, I have to get kills. And now he's getting hit as well. So we have the classic woodline trade. And what's funny is we haven't actually seen many villagers. Oh, no. No, many villagers have died. It's been 2 already. It's going to be 3. And now there's some archers over here. Yikes. I mean, you could kill this villager, and it'll make you feel a little better about your situation. But, oh god. Now Villese is going to lose the archer? No. Man, sorry. It's very hard to cast this type of game. Barles is fine. It's like the T90 fine emote. You know the meme with the little dog in the burning building? That's essentially where Barles is right now. But it is 27 eco versus 30. If he continues to make some ranged units here, who knows? As it stands, Villese kind of has to respect this. Because this could loop in and kill his new woodline. But yeah, wild game. Players transitioning into farms. However, what I've liked about Villese is he's added 5 fishing ships. Barles didn't add any more. Probably didn't have the wood for it. And then also over here, he's adding more fishing ships. So this is kind of how the map is designed to be played. And, yeah, Villese is just all over him right now. You know, losing that villager in the Dark Age really hurt. And then he's just taken so many losses in this position. Also, I'm not sure skirms are going to be that effective in this position if he doesn't have upgrades. Though neither player has upgrades at the moment. This villager's coming home right now, so we have a little bit of teamwork to kill this vill, which Barles doesn't seem to notice. And rip to him as well. He's annoyed as his boss now. He's like, why'd you even bring me into work, man? I was fine. It was my day off. Any others fletching? Bashar, there are what's called stickers. Basically, everyone calls them emotes. So if anyone who subbed could maybe post them in chat right now. We do have it. It works differently. I don't know if they're planning on changing exactly how it works, but we do have, I think, like 20 of them. I actually need to check, though, because I was told that I could get up to 50, but honestly, I just haven't really been focused on that. I've just been focused on the content. Okay, scout goes down. Yeah, so we do have stuff like that here. It won't show for people who watch later in the chat, which I guess is one of the bigger differences, too. And Barles breaks through. So, faster firing skirms, I find to be particularly smothering in these types of games. Because Japanese, even though we see a stable now, Japanese are not known for their stable strength. Now, they are better than Dravidians because they get bloodlines. And they'd be much better here because Villese has food. But still, I think the faster firing skirms have proven to be strong ever since Dravidians came out. A player like MBL has taken advantage of that a lot. And this is an army that's eventually going to die, but look how many archers he's able to kill. So that's really not bad. It could have been so much worse here. I think normally there's going to be 6 or 7 archers instead of 4 to 6. 6 or 7 archers instead of 4 to 6. I think you know what I meant. I think 2 or 3 of those kills wouldn't happen if it wasn't Dravidians for Barles, is my point. Problem is, though, really needs to catch some of these scouts out right now with some spearmen, I think, because this is an army that you just cannot stop. And also, Villese is even in this pond. Villese adding a galley, and he's attacking the villager, and so he's going to try his very best to block off new docks. If it's just trash units, even though Barles had some success in the previous game, the archers can take out the spearmen, and then the scouts can take out the skirms, and yeah, it's GG. That was rough for Barles. I feel bad for him. But honestly, game 1 was a throw from Barles. Barles, if he went Shravamsha and Camels, wins game 1. And this might be the type of set we look back on after all the groups conclude and say, man, if Barles would have had a win on this, you know, maybe his position would be better. Ultimately, Villese just smashed him, though. Killing the Dock Villager is one of the biggest things on this map. So that happening to Barles set him really far behind, and I think Villese just kind of took every initiative from there. Obviously, getting the Man-at-Arms into the wood line. Barles didn't have the scouting. It's just, everything just continued to go wrong for him there. GG.